We're coming up on the spooky season. What's the trashiest, most eyebrow-raising sexy costume you've ever seen? My work used to do a costume contest for Halloween every year. People always wore business appropriate costumes, until one year a guy wore a skimpy and tight-ass Catwoman outfit with his butt and balls hanging out and dong outlined clearly. Then he threw a big fit when they wanted him to change. That was the last year they allowed costumes. Poster child for this is why we can't have nice things. Super low effort, but one year I dressed up as the greased up deaf guy from a couple episodes of Family Guy. I literally bought and wore only a pair of white briefs and a tub of Vaseline. If you actually committed to greasing your whole body up, I wouldn't call that low effort. My wife and I went as K-Fed and Britney Spears one year. This was during their trashy phase. She even had her shirt stuffed so it looked like she was preggo. Some chick was wasted and was super pee she was drinking while pregnant. Haha. My wife and I won a costume contest as K-Fed and pregnant Britney. She hunted down and I've got the golden ticket shirt like one Britney wore, and had a dark hair wig because Britney had just dyed her hair. I was in all white, albeit portly, including white trucker hat and a big fake $ chain. I also exclaimed Papazeo a lot, referencing his then already dead music career. My old co-worker dressed up as RS Adolf Hitler. Yup, tiny mustache, olive drab uniform top, with red swastika armband, an extremely short olive drab skirt, fishnet stockings, black boots with stiletto heels, and an olive drab military hat. It was horrible. Unfortunately, she was hot and everyone kind of wanted to bang her so a very large co-worker on his way to her party, flesh-toned long johns with a massive dildo hanging out the fly, and a shabby overcoat, walked around flashing everybody so fast, they weren't sure it wasn't real. Girl I know did that, but had lights over her boobs and crotch so she was literally flashing people when she opened her coat. Actually went to a party where this was the theme. Some of the highlights were sexy balloon, sexy plague doctor and sexy plague victim, couple's costume, sexy mitochondria, and sexy cockroach. Yeah baby, make some of that ATP for me. Oh, your electron transport chain is so hot. I found a sexy can costume once in a knockoff Halloween store. It was a garbage can, obviously styled off those grey metal ones. The lid was a hat. The rim had sexy damage to show off boobs. This same sexy damage was spotted all over the costume to show off various patches of skin. The weirdest thing was the wig of fake noodles that came with it. Sounds like the noodle wig really tied the costume together. A friend and I had a competition one year to see who could pull off the dumbest sexy costume. She made a mean sexy Dumbledore. Sexy Dumbledore would definitely be the headmaster. This one isn't sexy, but it happened at work and was so baffling that this guy got us suspended from work by HR. We were told not to wear costumes. We were simply not allowed. No big deal. We're all adults and it's a professional work environment. Some of my co-workers dared another absolutely stupid co-worker to wear one anyways. This guy really wanted to wear a costume anyways. He comes in the next day dressed as a Vietnamese rice farmer. Doesn't sound so bad. Sam is Vietnamese anyways, and it sounds like a culturally enlightening experience to see how a Vietnamese rice farmer looks. Only Sam came in wearing his business work clothes and the only thing different was a yellow piece of paper cut out in the shape of a mask with two slants drawn where the eyes should be. He also made a hat out of newspaper. He was laughing so hard for the first few hours of the day and we were laughing too, but only because we were all completely thrown off by what we were seeing. He didn't need a mask at all, let alone a yellow one. Needless to say, he got fired shortly after for doing other stupid crap. I worked at a brokerage firm back in 2002 when the post 9/11 tech bubble market had gone all to heck, like down 40 or 50%. One of the admins came to work as a beauty queen. Her sash said, Ms. Nasdaq. She wore a torn sequin dress, run-laced stockings, had fake blood all over her, a black eye, a couple teeth blacked out, disheveled hair, and a broken tiara. I cannot explain why I found it so incredibly sexy. I guess because it fit her personality and sense of humor so well. I cannot for the life of me remember her name, but I sure as crap remember that costume. We don't kink shame here. Right after Steve Irwin died, a guy I know went as a stripper version of Steve, and his girlfriend was a sexy stingray. It was too soon. My brother got a stuffed animal stingray, got clothes to fit the Steve Irwin look, then showed up at the party with the stingray attached to his chest and bloody spot on his shirt where it was attached. He reprised a costume 2 years ago. Sexy crack W is probably the trashiest costume I've ever seen. Come to think of it though, I was in Vegas on Halloween last year and it might have been just a regular crack W. Darkest sketch. Darkest sketch. My dad once dressed as a priest and put what was supposed to be the tail to a sexy devil costume under the robe of his costume so it looked like he had a huge red-tipped boner. He said he got some nasty looks from people walking down the street where all the bars were that Halloween night. And yes, he was completely wasted. Maybe not exactly what this post is looking for, but anyways. Some 10 years ago I was delivering pizza for Domino's as a 30-year-old man. Each Halloween the staff, comprised almost entirely of nubile high school girls, as per the early 20s manager's hiring practice, dressed up in mostly sexy costumes. Well, one year one of the more attractive girls was dressed as a sexy bee with the wings top and a yellow and black mini skirt, and little black undies, not bloomers. Well, she was joking with the group we were in standing around in, and said, out of the blue, look what I can do. She then proceeded to lift a leg straight up and hold it above her head, like a standing split, in the miniskirt, with the panties. There isn't any more to the story. 10 years later, and I can't see a bumblebee without that image coming up. TLDR, sexy bee cause I was imprinted upon by one. Sounds like that honey had you buzzing. I don't know. I got nothing. That was terrible. I'm sorry. I'll leave. My parents dressed up for a bar costume competition. My dad dressed as a priest. My mother as a pregnant nun. They won and got a giant gift basket of booze for a prize. My mother didn't stuff her belly. She was in fact pregnant with me. There are pictures of her later enjoying and drinking the contents of said gift basket. My wife and I went as Sexy Magic, the Gathering Mana to a Halloween party one year. We just hot glued mana cards to clothing. It wasn't even sexy clothing, but we told everyone we were Sexy Mana. She was blue mana, I was black mana, and throughout the party I'd elbow people, point at her and say I'd tap that. Well, that's just freaking fantastic. Halloween 2001. At a party, a couple showed up as bin laden and a sexy flight attendant with a slit throat. I would say it was too soon, but I don't know if it'll ever be appropriate. It'll be. There are Titanic slides, and that disaster was horrific and a huge loss of life too. I expect to see that happen when I'll be an old man. White trash. She had crimped hair, green leopard print spandex dress, running mascara, was pregnant and smoking. Amazing costume, but by definition super trashy. My ex and I did White Trash Frankenstein, S-Monster, and Bride of Frankenstein. We found matching his and hers camo shorts at a thrift store and I did the pregnant smoking drinking thing. He painted himself green and had a mullet wig. It was, in fact, pretty trashy and also fun. Sexy hot air balloon. A guy dressed up as a hot air balloon got hot dancing with the costume on, so he took his shirt off, thus becoming the sexy hot air balloon. I saw a sexy Bob Ross costume for sale the other day. Like, can people just not ruin everything that is good and pure in the world or not? Sexy Bob Ross. That's regular Bob Ross. Back in high school there was a girl that I knew who dressed up as Pikachu. She had a tail attached to her jeans and wore a yellow crop top. She had the ears and red cheeks. It was an interesting day to say the least. Not gonna lie, I was terrified you were going to say the tail was somewhere else. S versions of child characters, especially when the character is a single digit age or a real person, creeps me the frick out. Yeah, Dora Explorer, 11, Misty and so on. This wasn't necessarily a sexy costume, but it certainly raised eyebrows because a friend of mine and his roommate dressed as the Twin Towers for Halloween when we were in college. They were made out of cardboard and were supposed to look like after the planes hit. Both of them smoked cigarettes while wearing them so they could blow smoke out, and his roommate had action figures hanging by strings so it looked like they were falling. After about an hour of wearing the costumes they realized they went too far and both changed into something else. 22.3 years rule. People. I heard of a skeleton costume for women called anorexia. It boggles my mind because there were so many other names they could have possibly thought of but had to name it after an eating disorder. I'm thinking it was a deliberate choice. I don't know if this counts, but a late 50s college professor who lived next door to a party house came over to our pimps and hose party with eyeliner, nipple holes cut in his shirt with nipple clamps and a leash collar, and smoked in the dance room, putting out the vibe. Crap was wild. A Freddy Krueger costume, with a dress instead of a sweater and pants. The dress only went like 2 centimeters below her you know what. I don't know the English word. Oh, and you could see half of the boobs, and instead of knives the glove had black leather stick. She said she's sexy Freddy. I noped right out of there. BTW, she was 15. Yes no. Woman was dressed in a silver peacock-like costume, not unlike a Victoria's Secret runway outfit, with a fishnet full body stocking and pasties over her private bits. The worst part is that she dressed her daughter, couldn't have been a day over 10, in the same costume. This one must be the winner. Maybe not trashy, but the risky business costume is horrible. It's literally underwear, socks and a button-down shirt. It's so low effort I can't even respect the sluttiness of it. The guy wore a suit and combed his hair over. His fiancée wore your standard kitty cat ears, black tights, painted on nose and whiskers. They were Trump and the P during the whole grab her by the P debacle. This is way more classy than Trump and his daughter Anvil, heavy on the incest vibe further up. My freshman year of high school, still age 14, hadn't turned 15 yet. I met my first girlfriend, and we went trick-or-treating together with my pal and his GF. While walking around, not really knocking on doors but Marizo just enjoying the oddly warm night, we see a classmate, also 14 years old at the most, running down the sidewalk dressed as a Playboy bunny. 6 years later and I'm still disturbed by what freshmen wear, say, and do. Friend of mine went as a date rape victim. She had panties as a gag and her hands zip tied together with her clothes kinda hanging off her. I didn't know if it was social commentary or if she wanted to shock people. Lady was wearing a typical red corset leggings deal. 70% of butt cheeks exposed. Chest was actually relatively tame. To church. We passed her in the parking lot. We were leaving early service. I froze. My wife starts chortling. Ooh. I turn. See the cheeks. No, we saw them heading back to the car a minute later. I feel bad for whoever had to tell them. 90% of our Halloween store's military law enforcement section is a sexy version. Yes, because when I think of people dying in combat, I think skin-tight polymer. All you really need to do is wear parts of the uniform. Wear some BDU pants and jungle boots with a really tight shirt and it's sexy. This crap is not complicated. Government agency, affiliated with the judicial branch. A portion of one unit came dressed as Orange is the New Black, with blackface. Needless to say, sensitivity training was quick on the agenda and no more dressing up for Halloween. Whole new meaning for NSW. I went to an ABC party, anything but clothes. A girl came with just duct tape covering her nipples and slit. It was October. My fraternity once hosted an ABC mixer with the engineering sorority, because that was apparently a thing. We were all wearing ridiculous, ramshackle outfits that essentially left us naked. The girls were all wearing pristine outfits that might as well have just been clothes, but were custom made from non-clothes items, like duct tape or trash bags or red cups. One of my former classmates dressed as a stripper. We were in 11th grade. The school I went to was a Christian school. I'll let you figure out what happened next. My friend and I at work went as dead prostitutes. We work near Whitechapel in London. We are, however, men and the dresses and makeup did mean a few strange looks. My friend, however, looked exactly like Eddie Redmayne in The Danish Girl. I'll try and get a picture. I found a pair of gold lame shorts at a Salvation Army, but when I got home and tried them on they were really tight and clingy, so I got a cape and a mask, and for Halloween I was Captain Camel Toe. This girl dressed up as a lemon juicer and told everyone at the party that anyone could squeeze her breasts without asking at any time. I felt sad for her as I knew that she wasn't really paid attention to in her circle of friends and felt that this was how she could get some attention. It's not always about attention. Plenty of people have objectification and free use fantasies. It sounds more like she wasn't aware of better venues to exercise those desires and thought that Halloween might provide that opportunity. I always thought that if you were going to do a sexy costume it should be oddly specific. Like I'm a sexy Bureau of Land Management supervisor for the greater Jackson Hole, Wyoming area. Trashy is wrong as it was a funny costume and made in jest, but it was 50 Shades of Gandalf the Grey. I don't really need to describe it. Sexy, trashy, woman bartender dressed as Flasher, fake beard, long wig, trench coat, nude body stocking, fake fur crotch hair and a huge fake dong. It was a traffic stopper for sure. There's some Try Guys vids where they try on sexy Halloween costumes. Good number of them can probably be up there. We'll say the one that absolutely broke me was this picture of a couple's costume of a woman giving birth and a baby's head coming out the vag. I wish I were kidding. Playboy made a sexy John Oliver costume and it has confused that poor man so much. The best part is John Oliver normally looks like a generic stock photo business dude with zero emotions or human feelings. Sexy dead Steve Irwin. Khaki short shorts, khaki shirt tied with midriff showing, knee-high socks, boots, face and skin painted white and grey to look like dead flesh, stingray barb stuck in her cleavage. Oh, and the word crikey written on her butt cheek. It was a weird boner moment. My friend went as a sexy Jane Roe, short lab coat, thigh highs, and a clear plastic bag which contained a plastic babadle that she covered with fake blood. She raised eyebrows and we laughed all night about it. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.